Welcome to the channel. Ish. As I go. Lamalanga. Hey. Us not doing anything that is. Oh. Anyway, Oti Bonuguti. Alani.
When you import people from failed states, you are creating a failed state. According to the ANC government, if you hire somebody to do a job and they fail at that job, you know what you do with the ANC? You hire a second person to make sure that person does their job. And when they both fail, you come up with a committee. When you listen to our president and you listen to people around him, any statement that they give is just a way to postpone accountability. Our law is negotiable now. If there's a roadblock, you can talk about it. These tuck shops are running in the townships without compliance. There's a lot of food poisoning cases.
These kids are dying.
The priority is to make sure that we can facilitate this 100 million rand from the government's coffers into our pockets. Whether you get water in your pipes or not, it's none of our business.
I am joined by a very intelligent, very prolific, and currently hotly trending individual who goes by the nickname Mike Gatfall. Mike, what an honor it is to have you here, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks, Amma. Thanks for inviting me.
One of the reasons I wanted this episode was to just discuss the matter of Johannesburg to you. The immigration in Joburg is getting crazy.
Yeah, I think it's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And, you don't need a census to actually work it out. If you walk into townships and see who's running the businesses there, if you go to the CBDs and see who you're talking to, you'll very quickly realize that we have a serious illegal immigration thing. And I think we have illegal immigration and mass immigration. And let me just give you a bit of history there. South Africa comes out of apartheid.
Yeah.
And apartheid is a system where one group of people is prioritized over another. And it's a bad system. Okay, so we managed to defeat that system.
Right.
So 1994 comes, so the ANC wins the elections. And then we now realize that, we need to uplift Black South Africans because they've been, marginalized for too long. And when I say Black, I'm talking about coloureds and Indians as well.
Yeah.
So this group of people now, we have to make sure that the education is on par with everybody else. We make sure that they can get opportunities to run businesses and start businesses. They can be involved in our higher education, all spheres of government and business and everyday life. We need to make sure that everybody is taken care of. So now what quickly happens now is the same population that we're supposed to uplift and put at the forefront of jobs and skills development and all sorts of things. What happens now is that you look at 10 years, 15 years later, after 1994, where when you get in the construction industry, you find a lot of Mozambicans, legal or illegal. You get into the hospitality industry, restaurants, you find a lot of Zimbabweans, legal or illegal.
And this is an industry you're very active in.
Construction, yes. I mean, if you go to most sites, whether you're building an individual house in Stain City or a complex in Edenvale, you'll find that 80% of the labor there is predominantly Mozambican.
No way.
100%. This can be confirmed in the comments. You'll see. So what happens now is it doesn't matter whether the person is from Mozambique here legally or illegally. The point that you have to understand is that, let me give you an example with farming. The reason why Afrikaners are good with farming is because they've been doing it for centuries. So you are in this farming industries, you develop skills, you develop new technology, new ways and methods of farming. So over 100 years or 200 years, you become so good at it. So if you exclude South Africans from industries like construction, restaurants, hospitality in general, for example, with the tuck shop business that is being taken over by Somalians and Ethiopians and people from Bangladesh.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And then you got the cell phone business. I mean, nobody even, I don't know what to call it. The cell phone business where you go in and get your screen protected.
You get your phone repaired.
Get your phone repaired. I had a big issue with one guy who broke my screen, but it's run by people from Pakistan. You're having a situation where all these industries are occupied by people that are not South African. And then over time, they're going to continue to develop better skills, better methods. So what are South Africans developing when it comes to skills? I mean, my mother has been a domestic worker all her life. But even that industry is taken over by immigrants, meaning that even the opportunity to earn 100 rand a day is taken away. So what I'm saying is that Black South Africans, Indians and Coloureds had a situation where they were excluded from the economy because of apartheid. So a new government comes in, and then 10, 15 years, 30 years down the line, they are now being excluded from their own.
We haven't even had an opportunity to reap the benefits of like freedom that we had.
Economy. So if you don't take care of that, you're going to have a very serious problem. So mass immigration is a problem when the locals are excluded from it. So we just become what? Customers?
Right? In our own country.
In our own country. And you find very quickly, I had a conversation with one of my supporters when it comes to the Hatful Patrol unit. And what we were discussing was that it is so funny how our government treats us as South Africans, black or white, where when you start your own business and you want to start something like a tuck shop, the health department and the labor department will be on you when it comes to...
Tell me about it.
When it comes to compliance, right?
Oh, it's crazy. You end up giving up in the end.
You end up giving up because the red tape and all the compliance that you have to do. Yeah. But somebody can cross the border illegally, set up shop, and it's okay.
Tomorrow the school kids are buying there when they walk
100%. So that has to be fixed. And I'm not naive to a point where I'm thinking that, you know, we must stop all business that is hiring people that are not South African. They are businesses. They want to make money. So if you hire somebody who is willing to take a lower wage,
for sure,
and he's not going to take you to CCMA,
willing to be treated worse.
What benefit? Only the government.
You know,
can take
below
humane
levels.
You're a business person. You're going to take it and make money because the government is also not doing us any favors. The labor laws and the compliance, the red tape is just way too long. I mean, I've got Hatful as an NPO, right? To get your NPO registered as an NPO, to get a status to become a public benefit organization, it will take you 10,000 rand in 10 months. So compliance that is imposed by government when it comes to running businesses and hiring labor, it is so heavy-handed that you end up having immigrants as an option. So businesses are also pushed in a corner. So I don't want to blame them, but the system has to be fixed. You cannot have a situation where the whole construction industry is taken over by Mozambicans because it's easier to deal with them because they don't want to take it to CCMA. The government has to find a way to ease the regulations so that things like a minimum wage, the industries that are very labor intensive. And then if you have a minimum wage, you're going to have a problem with making profits. So illegal immigration, labor regulations, compliance, it's all just a cocktail of something that's going to explode in our faces.
The ANC has reached a point in corruption that's so deep, they have no place of authority to actually call out these illegal immigrants.
Yes, and it goes down to law and order.
Yeah.
If you are talking about lawlessness, lawlessness starts at the border. So, number one, if you have a country of law and order, it means that you make sure your borders are protected.
Yeah.
You make sure that your citizens are protected. The businesses that your citizens have the right to run, like
people first, right?
Like the informal businesses, like selling fat cooks on the side of the road. You know, our constitution actually protects that for locals. And the government doesn't seem to be worried about that. And going back to the brown envelopes, So how these people actually prosper in the country? Let's call it the brown envelope is like the oil that just the grease
lubricates
it
gets the
lubricates
machine going.
the machinery. Because what happens is, how do you have a situation where these tuck shops are running in the townships without compliance?
Yeah.
There's a lot of food poisoning cases.
These kids are dying, especially Soweto here. You know, just around the corner, these kids from school, he bought a little bag of knickknacks, he dies tonight. You know, that was a very important point there.
Yes, it's crazy. I mean, how many factories have been exposed? How many factories in Joburg are manufacturing fake goods, fake energy drinks? I saw this video the other day where they were manufacturing testic rice.
You also saw that? I thought I was the only one. Then I said, I am not sending this to anyone.
So your well-known brands being repackaged. So they've got this not so good product being covered in these brands, and they're selling it to us. That's and our government, especially the health department. Like think about it this way. I mean, how much hope or trust do you have in a health department official who's going to go door to door looking for compliance? How much confidence, how much do you rate that guy between 1 and 5? If you have a situation of lawlessness, these factories will continue to operate. Because if you have an operation like this where there are factories making fake goods that are dangerous to the public and they continue to operate, then the distribution will be the easiest part. But then if you crack down on these operations, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at this whole system of tuck shops and townships, it's a syndicate. Let's be honest about it. There's no way that one brand of a store can like spread this fast.
Never.
It's a well thought.
It was planned.
It was planned and it's working. And then the biggest lubricant in there, the oil to this machine,
that small cool drink,
is the corruption by our officials. And I'm very passionate about that. Until we can really, really plug that and stop it, we'll never solve the issue of crime in South Africa. Because I mean, look what happened with EMPD.
Hey, it's sad.
I mean, they're doing the vetting now.
Wow. Yeah, thanks. The house is burnt and they arrived. Yeah. Thank you. At least you were here in the end, you know.
Yeah, then you called the fire truck.
Just imagine.
The fire's gone a long time ago. So what's happened now is that we've allowed this thing to happen over and over again. The same way that you see videos of people in Joburg CBD printing and doing all sorts of illegal documents, fake bank statements. We've allowed this to happen. It's very connected to illegal immigration because people come from different places and we have different standards. Where people, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
South Africa, at some point, was a high trust society.
For sure.
Meaning that if there's a law that you cannot submit a fake proof of residence, you're just not going to do it. If there's a law that says that you cannot fake your bank statements, you're just not going to do it because the law says you shouldn't do it. So now what has happened with mass immigration is that some people have realized that, well, I can just do it and I don't get punished for it. And they'll just continue doing it. And law enforcement is not catching up to these little things.
They're not. And the influx in that is crazy. I was watching this one documentary from the BBC talking about the state of Johannesburg. And one of the many things they pointed out was how easy it is to get these legal documents.
Yes.
If you just know somebody who knows somebody, tomorrow you're getting your driver's license like this.
A matric certificate.
No way.
Yes.
They've started with that one now.
Makes a phone call. I think they advertise this thing.
What?
It's an advert. You call and say, I need a certificate for matric. And the guy says, I work for Umalusi, the Department of
Malusi
Education.
Kikaba.
No, Umalusi is an agency that does this.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
it's
I'm
like-
wondering, for a split second, I thought, what?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, your matric certificate has got Umalusi on it. That is the agency that makes sure that it's like the South African Qualification Association. This guy claims to be working for the Department of Education. You tell him what subjects and how many distinctions you want.
Huh?
Yeah. And I think you mentioned something like 1,500 rand. So we have this situation where people can have fake bank statements, fake proof of residence, fake matric certificates, fake degrees. You and I will read about this and nothing will happen to it.
Nothing.
And then it goes back also to mass immigration. So look at what has happened to our higher institution higher education institutions.
Mm.
Actually, the whole education system in South Africa has been hijacked very slowly. One day we're going to wake up and then it's going to be controlled by people that are not South African. One, if you look at just basic education, you will very quickly realize that when it comes to just access for learners, it's now open to everybody, regardless of their status when it comes to immigration. So if you cross the border with 3 kids illegally and it's January, your kids can just get a school, get access to education, no questions asked.
Yeah.
That's number one. When it comes to the service providers, which is the educators, you will find that there are schools in South Africa that have hired immigrants as teachers, while we have 30,000 plus teachers that are unemployed. Number 3 is the education institutions themselves. I'm still talking about basic education. You will find that there are schools that are owned by immigrants in South Africa.
That is so true.
Yes. So, and that points, most of them will be Zimbabwean. And I've also even heard about schools that are introducing Shona as a language in the schools.
What?
And for me, listen, I don't have a problem with anybody doing that.
Like, yeah, again, there's no beef.
There's no beef.
We're just saying, when do South Africans become first in South Africa?
When do South Africans become the leaders of these spaces? Where now you have the education system being run by immigrants, educators being immigrants, and the learners being immigrants. Meaning that you are literally importing systems from failed countries. That has to be mentioned. Let me get to higher education institutions.
Yeah.
The last time I checked, there was 6,000 employees that are working for our government, South African government, 6,000 that are immigrants. I mean, I made a long video about the head of research at the South African Human Rights Commission, who is from Uganda. And the question I'm asking myself is that we have our own commission, South African Human Rights Commission, but we have a guy from Uganda telling us what to do. What research is he doing? He must be doing research in his country over there. Please, and leave us alone. We know how to take care of our business. So our education institutions, high education institutions, you find immigrants that are dean of department, lecturer, head of department. Look, I'm a practical man.
Yeah.
And conservative at the same time. When you import people from failed states, you are creating a failed state. And on top of that, I don't mind getting experts to come in and become a lecturer of engineering at UCT. But we have an unemployment problem in South Africa. So you are telling me that at all these institutions and schools and departments of government, you couldn't find black people that are qualified, colored people that are qualified, Indian people that are qualified, and white people that are qualified. So what you will find is that we let this thing continue. South Africans will have no role to play. So we're going to have a history where we defeated apartheid, have a black government that is supposed to be taking care of business, but the people that are supposed to be helped and advanced by this government are now taking a backseat. And now they're being replaced by people that are immigrants and are not South African. You can call that xenophobic. I'll call that putting South Africa first. If we were a first world country with 3% unemployment rate, we can talk about
now we can start thinking
we can
about
say,
the other people,
let's be diverse.
For sure.
Yeah, let's explore. Let's help other Africans. Let's see. But we have a 32% unemployment rate.
It's bad.
How do you have a 32% unemployment rate, majority black, and then you import other black people to replace the black people that you're supposed to be helping? I've got a problem with it. So you have a situation in South Africa where you have 80% black that are going to be 80% poor, 80% unemployed, 80% uneducated, and 80% unemployable. Because at the moment, you're not giving them an opportunity to be in industries where they can have influence, develop their skills, and pass them on to other generations. It actually reminds me, I'm going to keep going now.
Sure.
It reminds me also of the driving school business. You know, I was shocked. So you're telling me that if you were looking for a license today, and then you go to the licensing department, within 5 minutes, you'll work out how the system works. You don't have to be a genius. You know that when you get in there, you're going to be told that, listen, for you to pass, you must pay this guy and do this and do that. And
That's the commandment.
That's-
If you really want to make it,
that's how it works.
yeah.
If you don't pay, you don't get your
No, you'll
license.
fail.
You'll fail.
That's so true.
Yes. So our law enforcement is not aware of this.
Yeah. No, they're not.
Anybody can make a phone call.
You know what? I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
There's way too many of these corrupt businesses. There's no way the law enforcement could know about all of them. You know, like, I know. Remember in Joburg,
Yeah.
like places like Joburg, you can start a driving school tomorrow like this.
Just like that.
Because we can hijack a building and then,
Free rent, number one.
you see? And then tomorrow we're going to say, Nandi's driving school.
Yep.
It's a driving school now. We don't have any certificate. We don't have any business certificate. We are driving school. Come to us. We'll find a way to get you the license. You know, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here because regarding law enforcement, yes, they're not doing anything. But wow, where do they start when it comes to curbing this? Because you cut one off, three will appear.
Yeah.
A few hours later, that side. You know, so if you could also just like explain that for us too.
So in South Africa, we have normalized nonsense. We've normalized the idea of drinking and driving, arriving at a roadblock, and then paying the guy off, and you're continuing. So we're not thinking about the effects of that you could actually get involved in an accident and kill a family.
Mm.
In South Africa, we've normalized the idea of my car is not roadworthy. I know a guy who can help you with that. Our law is negotiable now. If there's a roadblock, you can talk about it. There's a way to get out of it. So that now moves from one person to another, and it becomes the way we. I mean, if you talk to people who drive trucks throughout the continent,
I always had a big question mark on my head about those individuals.
yeah. So if you have a conversation with a truck driver who drives from like Congo all the way to Cape Town, the one thing they'll tell you about Africa is that you must drive around with a big bag.
Yeah, little stash on the
Yes.
side.
Everywhere you go, if you want to go through this border, you must pay somebody. If you want to get this, you must pay that guy. The minute we embrace that culture and it becomes our culture, we'll never get it right, because it means that you can build whatever building you want in the middle of the road. You can sell where you want. Bylaws don't matter.
That's so true.
And then what happens now is the townships have become that, but then instead of them becoming better, they're getting worse, where taverns are everywhere. I mean, I was in Ivory Park.
Next thing you'll find Nigerians shitting everywhere in the counter. Putting open culture, Bangladeshis, Indian.
One weekend, month end, Saturday, in the township. So from my mom's house to the hardware that I'm going to, there's a builder's warehouse, Builder's Express in a place called Maibwe. This distance is a 10-minute drive.
Yeah.
But it's a Saturday, it's month end. It took me 2 hours because these taverns are creating traffic. They're creating a lot of restrictions when it comes to lanes. People are drunk. A 10-minute drive took me 2 hours. One way. Ask anybody who has been to the township like Deep Slough to Ivory Park, month end, weekend. First of all, nobody obeys all the stop sign rules.
No. That one, yeah, I'm sure everybody knows that.
How did we get there? So we're going back to the question that you asked me to say, how does the police and law enforcers let things go? It's because we let the first thing go, and the second thing, the third thing, and then it becomes a norm to allow things to happen. And before you know it, it's just normal
So
that
big
a stop
domino
sign
effect.
doesn't count. That if the traffic light is red,
Yeah. I'll deal with that
I'll
later.
deal with that.
Yeah.
So we have to just get back to basics. We have to get back to understanding that if we have any respect for ourselves, if we want to develop this country, it starts with one thing and one thing only: law and order. If you don't have law and order, you cannot build anything worth building, because then someone can just come and hijack it from you.
That's
What are you going to do about it? As long as he's got the police on his side, he's got a couple of guys that he can pay off at the city of Joburg, you cannot do anything about it. And that's what's happening in South Africa at the moment. If somebody is connected to law enforcement and politicians, what are you going to do about it?
all captured. And you said something very important there, development. That was the theme of Ramaphosa's whole nation address. If you really look at it, remember he was talking about making more of these great futuristic trains. And Ernst Ruetz from AfriForum said, please, before we talk about these advanced trains, China and
fix the
Qatar,
slow ones.
let's start with those trains they've stolen from you during COVID.
Yeah.
You know, before you start talking about these underground railways, get the ones that were stolen from you during the lockdown back, or try something new with it. Our railway system is destroyed. It's finished.
Yeah.
And here you have a dude who seems to be existing outside our reality, telling you about his plans for this futuristic train and railway system he has for the country. And it's gonna be awesome. It's almost like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And he knows his nonsense. It means nothing.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he has.
He knows that all those statements. If you watch my video that I was talking about, I tried to write every sentence he said, but after about 30 minutes, I just gave up.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a lot of words, man. You know, that's a lot of words.
and it's like, how can I put it? It's like when you listen to our president and you listen to people around him, they have given up on fixing things. Totally given up. Every statement they're going to give out there is not designed to fix any problem. Any statement that they give is just a way to postpone accountability. Okay, today, what are we going to tell them, guys, today? You know, today, let's just tell them that we're going to have smart cities and bullet trains. A bullet train. You're going to have a bullet train, but you cannot fix...
How we have bullet trains in the smart city from the rest of at least the all right.
Yeah. Which railway system are you using for that one?
Let's start with the railways.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, are you going to have consistent power to have this thing running? I'm convinced at the moment that they've given up on us. They've given up on the idea of fixing South Africa. And for some very strange reason, I don't know why they don't take their position seriously and do the stuff that they're supposed to do with the budget that are given by the taxpayers.
Jewish money. You get the Jewish money.
It actually reminds me of the Democrats in the US.
Yeah.
When you look at the Democrats in the US and the stuff that they debate, you will think you're dreaming or just in a show. You know, have you ever gone to, I haven't been to movies in a long time. Have you ever gotten a ticket for a movie?
Yeah.
And then you end up in the wrong cinema?
Oh.
Yeah, and then you get in there and then the adverts run and then after about 5 minutes, like, no,
Yeah,
man,
this is not the right
this is not the
place. Yeah.
So sometimes when you watch these people, that's the feeling you get, that why are we debating the voter ID situation? Why are we debating people showing ID to vote? Why is that a debate? Because everything you do on this planet, you're required to show ID. Going through this gate into the studio today, I had to show my driver's license.
Yeah.
They had to scan the car. So everything has to go with ID. So if you look at the Democrats in America and the ANC in South Africa, I think they sort of have the same book. They're reading from the same book. They will die on a hill that is not worth dying on, because they'll have policies that they will defend with their lives, even if that policy is failing. They will mention things that they know very well will never work. They will keep repeating those things. They will dance around the issue of service delivery, like water and electricity, instead of just sitting down and say, guys, who's responsible for distribution? Who are the guys that are supposed to make sure we get maintenance? What are their names? What is the report? Fire those guys and get somebody who knows what they're doing in there. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to put money on it, have a committee and an agency, and then our president is going to be the chairperson for all of those committees. So if you hire somebody, according to the ANC government, if you hire somebody to do a job and they fail at that job, you know what you do with the ANC? You hire a second person to make sure that person does their job. And when they both fail, you come up with a committee.
Correct.
And then all of those things cost money.
Yeah.
But then it's our money. They're not interested in saving our money. So you will find very quickly that our system will never improve because nobody gets fired. The EMPD, as we speak, should be closed down.
For sure.
There's not even a discussion around
They're
it.
fully investigated.
Yeah, shut it down. Get some people from JMPD to start working over there because, I mean, we're in the same province. But shut it down completely and then start over. But instead, they will come up with some very superficial solutions like, no, we're going to start vetting everybody now. These people have been working here for 400 years. Now you're going to vet them?
Right.
And how long will that take? 2 months.
Yeah, and remember, the government's concept of time, they can't relate to the people. They exist outside our reality. So when they say 2 months, to us, it's about 6 months, right? Because to them, I'll be there just now.
Yeah.
Give them an hour, you know. So when they say, yeah, we'll do it in 2 months, Mazanga commission's on it, it's going to take forever.
Everything is designed to delay accountability. It's not designed for solutions. If we're talking about the EMPD, it's not about getting the EMPD to function. It's about protecting those people who are corrupt in the EMPD for as long as you can. For as long as you can. So if we are talking about local elections now, the idea is to protect them until the election day. And then if they win the elections in Ekurhuleni, is to protect them for as long as they're in the term of 5 years. It's not about finding a solution and helping the public. No, that's not the priority.
Within Johannesburg, there are different communities that haven't had water for years. It's become a lifestyle now. If you want to move to this area, make sure you have an awful lot of buckets.
Yes.
And you've bought a lot of containers from Westpac Express. Because when you're here, don't be surprised when you're still yawning, you've put your toothpaste, you open the tap, it's dry there.
Yes.
You must make sure there's a bucket there. You should have been prepared. You know, so I just also wanted your take on the water crisis.
Self-inflicted. So this is a result of just years and years of incompetence. You know, having been building houses for 20 years, one of the things that you realize very quickly is two things. If you use cheap materials, you're going to pay for it. If you use good materials, but you don't maintain the structure, you're going to pay for it. Simple example. If you have a house and then once in a while you don't check your electricals and do your plumbing, and every time you have a leak, you just sort of like ignore it. Every time something trips, you just like find another way to deal with it. This is what you have. But over and above that, I strongly, and this is going to sound very, very simple.
Sure.
The system that we have with municipalities is a situation where people that are holding those offices do not know what they're doing. When there's a budget or when they collect revenue, they don't put it. H.R. Ramaphosa said this. He said, we've discovered that municipalities collect revenue for water, but they don't spend it on the maintenance. Here's how the ANC operates, guys. And until you get to understand how they do it, you'll never get to see how things work. Let's say there's 100 million rand budget that comes out as a tender to maintain, I'm just going to give you a stupid example, 10 kilometers of water pipes. Maintenance.
Yeah.
I can guarantee now, these people will be sitting in a meeting. The tender guy, the procurement guy, the finance guy, and the other guy. Let's just make them 4.
Yeah.
The discussion will go along these lines. Listen, how much is this thing? 100 million. 100 million? What is the spec? You know, we're going to maintain this. You know, there's a lot of this. We're going to do these pipes. There's joints there. You're going to do this.
Right.
These ones are 12 years old. Because every maintenance has a schedule, just like a car. If you've got a water pipe, every water pipe system will have a schedule. Every 5 years, you must replace this. Every 7 years, you must replace that. It's got a lifespan. Let's imagine they're sitting at a Chisanyama. Let's not put it as a boardroom because a boardroom sounds too serious.
Yeah.
Sitting as a Chisanyama there, wearing those tight t-shirts with the tummies.
Yeah. That is so relatable.
And
You know,
skinny jeans.
Something
and the
tells me
pointy
you've
shoes.
been to some of these because the way you describe these scenarios is exactly what everybody who's watching from home is also imagining them.
Yes.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
They're not sitting in a boardroom.
No.
Brown Mohotsi owns a tavern around Soweto.
Yeah.
They go there
They
to
go there and say, guys, okay, we've got 100 million rand.
Yeah.
I made sure you get the tender. This guy is the one who's going to be releasing the payments. I want 10 million rand. Each one of us must make 10 million out of this. And the guy says, okay, guys, we can't do that. So they say, listen, are these pipes underground? Of course, pipes are underground, right?
Yeah.
So if you do this maintenance,
Yeah.
will there be proof that you did the maintenance? The guy says, well, they're underground. We can provide proof in a form of pictures, videos. He says, okay, how about if you only did 10% of the maintenance and we share the rest of the budget? This is how they think. The same way that you can have a bridge worth 100 million rand. The contractor is paid 100 million rand, but there's no bridge. How does that happen? Let me tell you what happens when you build houses. A client gets a piece of land. You organize an architect to design the house. At the end of this whole process, you've got a plan with the cost, and this client goes and gets a bond from the bank. Let's call it a building bond.
Yeah.
A building loan. The loan is worth 5 million. And the bank tells you, all the banks have different rules. The bank tells you, Mr. Contractor, you are going to build this house, but we're only going to allow you to make 5 withdrawals from the loan. You build, you draw, you build, you draw until it's 100% finished. We are happy with the work, and then you get the balance of the money. It's a very simple process. You put your foundations, you call the bank. The very next day, the assessor is there, and they tell you, Mike, you've built 15% of the project. Here's 15% of your money. You repeat that until you get to 100%. Obviously, 100% is much more difficult because now you need occupation certificates, you need compliance certificates, all of that. But if you've been doing the job properly, it's not very difficult. You might need to deal with the red tape from the council or government agency. Maybe it's got to do with plumbing or gas installation, whatever. But at the end of the day, the payment matches progress on site. Very simple system. The guy sitting in finance waits for the report from the assessor, maybe, supported by evidence of photographs and stuff like that. And then he says, okay, 12%, you happy with that? Yes, boom. Let's pay this guy 12%. And before we pay him, we make sure that he's also compliant, that the insurance on the building is up to date, his building certificates, whatever compliance is required for him to qualify as a contractor for this project, everything checks out. Boom, pay him 12%. And you do that 5 times until the 100% is paid out. So how do you pay out 100 million rand for a project that's not complete?
That's the ANC, bro. Dala yo. Yo, they were a dream. Heartless people.
It just tells you one thing. Everything is operated like a gang. So when there's a project to maintain water pipes or the water pipe system, a gang gets the contract. So in that gang, you have the contractor.
Yeah.
Who's not really a contractor.
Yeah, he's,
Yeah,
it happens to be his middle name.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, right? Yeah.
So he's not really into the water pipes.
He knows nothing about it.
He knows nothing about it, but he's compliant though.
Yeah.
Even that compliance is questionable, but hey, he's okay.
Yeah.
And then you have the guy in finance. His job is to release the payments. It's part of the game. You got the guy in procurement. This is the guy, this is the key guy, because he's the guy who made sure that of all the people who came for the bidding, it ends up with the contractor.
Yeah.
Their chosen guy. And then you have a couple of guys in there who their job is to make sure that when the assessment is done, they can cook it nicely to accelerate the payments. The guy does 8% of the work, but the assessment says 70.
Right?
Yeah. You take this scenario,
yeah,
and you multiply it by 1 million. That's what you have. You take this scenario and you put it in every municipality in the country. That's what you get.
Wow.
The same thing happens with roads, electricity, water, like we mentioned, housing, railways, every aspect of South Africa and what we're supposed to do to deliver services. This scenario exists.
Wow.
When it comes to merit, contractors with a track record, that's not a priority. The priority is to make sure that we can facilitate this 100 million rand from the government's coffers into our pockets.
Wow.
Whether you get water in your pipes or not, whether the water in your pipes is clean or not, it's none of our business.
Ini. So guys, I'm honestly heartbroken with this whole certificate. Causing it. How do I feel? Angry all the time. When do we act? But anyway, show me on another video. Otherwise, out. Peace.